And the job that you guys are engaged in on a daily basis, and that I used to be engaged in on a daily basis, is all about trying to understand, when you're talking to a client, how you decide which is the right lender for you to go to. I'm here clearly to talk about platform, but this is a global idea. I tend to think back to the days when I was broking, that when you started a conversation with a client, you had a bank of lights on the wall behind you, and they were all lit when you started that conversation. And you ask questions, and you get further into that conversation with the client, and the lights start to go out. Because you know, oh, that lender won't do that, because the answer I got to that question means that lender won't do that, and the answer I got to this question means that lender won't do that. And you're turning lights out as you have that fact-find conversation. Till eventually you're left with probably 2 or 3 lights that are still lit. And you know that those are the 2 or 3 lenders that will probably lend to the client that you've got sitting in front of you, because it's your experience that gives you the ability to have that conversation. My job is to try and make sure that one of the lights that stays lit is platform. And I guess the challenge that we have, and all of us have as BDMs, regardless of which lender we work for, is how do we make sure that our light stays lit for the right reasons? And if those lights are staying lit, is that because those are the lenders that are absolutely the best lender for your client in those circumstances? Or are they just the ones that you know best? Because you've used them before, because you're familiar with them, because you're comfortable with them, because you feel confident that when you're putting your professional standing on the line with that client and you're saying, I recommend this lender, you know that that lender's actually going to back you up and do what you've told that client that lender's going to do. So how do we as a lender make sure that we stay in a space where that